So Project xCloud has finally launched to 22 countries, boasting over 150 games you can now play over the cloud, and well, it's an impressive lineup of games to be sure. One would even say that it is the true Netflix of games, which is honestly what we all expected, including myself, when I heard about cloud gaming over 2 years ago. But despite that, the truth is, when it comes to cloud gaming, performance is king, because I don't want to ever feel like I'm playing in the cloud, otherwise I just won't enjoy myself. With that said, we're going to take a look at xCloud as a whole. We're going to see how it stacks up in today's cloud gaming market, and we're going to find out if this service is worth investing into as your standalone cloud gaming need. With that said, subscribe for potential future xCloud videos where I do hope to cover the brand new first-party titles headed to xCloud in the future, as well as smash that like button so we can reach more cloud gamers out there. So on the surface, there's actually a lot of good stuff to talk about when it comes to xCloud, and some other concerns that I'll get to later in the video. But the number one thing that really sticks out has to be the array of impressive library of games for what you get as a price. And while I'm looking at this from the pure cloud gaming point of view, you do have to factor in the value that comes with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. 150 featured titles such as Destiny 2, Sea of Thieves, Gears of War 5, Halo, The Outer Worlds, Witcher 3, No Man's Sky, newly released titles like Wasteland 3 and Grounded, wonderful indie titles like Untitled Goose Game, MMOs like Black Desert, multiplayer games like Ark Survival and Dead by Daylight. I mean, this is just a few of the games that I mentioned. Sure, looking at this list, there is a few stinkers, but most of the titles on here are pretty high quality. This isn't PS Now that features a ton of junk. There is bound to be several games in your favorite genre here. Then you take a gander at the price, and we're looking at $14.99 a month for this entire library of games, not to mention that EA Play will also join the lineup at some point. Not only that, but most of these games are able to be continued through other devices, like your PC or Xbox with cloud saves. I mean, from a pure value standpoint, this to me makes this a viable cloud platform on its own, and I dare say possibly the only one you might need. But while the value that comes with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and xCloud is something that can't be denied, we have to see how does it run, how does it stand up to other services out there, and honestly, we have a huge mixed bag here for me after many hours with the service. Now to start, according to Xbox, you need at least 10 megabits per second down. Now I have great internet and more than enough, as you guys can see here on the screen. I run almost all the other services out there flawlessly. I pretty much own every single major cloud platform out there: PS Now, Stadia, Shadow, GeForce Now, xCloud Now, just to give you guys some context of my experience. But unfortunately, out of all the whole bunch of them, xCloud is the one that I've struggled with the most easily. But that doesn't mean it's all bad. Now, xCloud runs natively at 720p regardless of what screen you have. It is also limited to only Android at the moment, so you can play off your PC on the cloud or the TV. Now, it's currently running on Xbox One S hardware, with future upgrades to the new Gen Xbox Series X down the line, but you can tell it's running on hardware that was made back in 2016. Now, usually I get around 85 to 90% stable gameplay, but I'm actually quite impressed that despite rendering and compressions and artifacts I consistently see, the service does prioritize my actions more than my resolution and image quality, making sure that the games are playable as much as possible. Even though things might look rough, most of the time I'm able to power through it. And I notice one thing to be sure is that not every single game is created equal. For example, playing Forza Horizon 4, I couldn't get any stable image or input or gameplay at all. The input lag was extremely noticeable, which is not what you want with a fast racing game. It was honestly my worst experience. Then hopping on, shockingly, to Dead by Daylight, which is an online game, I had more than 95% stable gameplay, though I couldn't hit the cues because of the input latency, while other games ran well, just like Halo and some of the other indie games. It seems that the less heavy the game is, the possibility that it runs slightly better, but it's still pretty hit or miss all around. I even hardwired my phone to my modem with an Ethernet cable, and nothing changed in regards to the gameplay. I did test this on several devices, and my experience was once again surprisingly consistent no matter what device I used, or if I was on Wi-Fi or hardwired, it did not matter. I was still around 85 to 90% stable gameplay, with games taking on average between 3 to 5 minutes to finally load into the entire game. So in conclusion, value-wise and taking into account performance, there's actually a lot to be excited for the future of this service, but at the same time, I feel it has a lot of growing up to do. First off, once again, the value cannot be understated at this point, especially if you're already in the Xbox ecosystem. This is a no-brainer. I personally was able to play one of my favorite games in State of Decay 2 on xCloud, then jump in and play it 4K on my computer with the cloud save and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and it just really makes it truly worth that investment because there is just a mind-blowing amount of games, and while the performance is not great at times, at this point of this review I probably wouldn't necessarily recommend xCloud as your only cloud gaming service just yet. I would say though that it's not far off, especially when they upgrade the server blades to the new Xbox Series X. We'll have to relook how this all performs again, but the performance is not my only concern. One thing about most of the other cloud services out there is that you do have the option to own your games. GeForce Now through Steam or Epic, or Stadia, you don't have to worry about games leaving the service. That is at the top of my concerns with xCloud. It does make it hard to invest in a game that doesn't have a for sure ending, because I would be flat out worried if it leaves the service and all my progress is lost. The fact is, xCloud has a lot of growing up to do, and it does make it hard for me to recommend getting the service just for the cloud portion of it alone. 720p is very outdated at this point. It doesn't support enough devices. You truly don't own any games, period, and it just doesn't run as smooth as most services. But despite all that, I still feel it's worth your money if you don't mind subscribing to more than one cloud service, because it nails one of the two most important things in my opinion. That is games. It just has them in spades, and it has good ones, and it's set to get future first-party titles as well as an array of EA games. At this point, it's mostly up to you if you decide this service is worth your money, and I would mostly depend that answer on if you feel the catalog of games is worth it, but it doesn't nail the single most important factor for me on a personal level. As I stated at the start of this video, it does make me feel like I'm cloud gaming, and folks, that is a problem. But I feel it's a temporary one, as the potential future looks to be pretty bright overall, and I expect some of the concerns that I just listed to be rectified in the coming year. And my absolute final thoughts is this: treat xCloud like the way Xbox is treating it, as a supplement to all your gaming needs, and not your standalone cloud gaming solution. This is a service worth truly watching out for, one to be taken serious in the months and years ahead. As Spencer once said, Stadia and Amazon are the real competition. We'll see if he holds up to that with his investment of xCloud in the future. Alright guys, let me know your thoughts on xCloud so far. How has it been working for you? Are you enjoying the service? Does it run really well for you, or does it run bad? How do you guys like the games? And do you see xCloud have a major future in the cloud gaming space? Let me know your answers down below. Make sure you're subscribed and smash that like button. I'm Sunny, and I'll see you guys in the cloud.